Yo, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Unnamed Sports Show right here on Gorilla Cross Media. I'm your host, Quan59, and we have another dope show for you today. A lot of stuff going on in sports news. James Harden got traded at 2 a.m. He was still awake. He was at the strip club when he found out. A lot of trades in the NFL, folks. Trade deadline happened earlier this afternoon, and it almost felt like an NBA trade deadline the way there was a lot of trades going down today. So we're going to talk about all that and more right here on Unnamed Sports Show. And we're going to talk about the overreactions of NBA Week 1, because some people are throwing their team in the championship. Some people are saying if you're 1-2, you're not even making the playoffs in an 82-game season. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, and the fan base of how fan bases go a little crazy. And I was going a little crazy this weekend because Sunday was a bad sports day for me. But I got my man, guest co-host, once again in the studio. He must like being here. Dre Bailey, what's good?
What's up with it, man? I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you coming through.
Yes, sir.
And I got my man all the way from Dallas, Texas area. I don't know exactly what city he wants to claim in Texas, but my man Mark Jones, what's good?
What's good, fam? Appreciate being on with you.
Yes, sir. How's it going out there, man? What city do you claim?
Dallas, because if I said my actual city, people would be like, God bless you. Because it's
Akron?
the city it's called Waxahachie, and they're like,
oh, yeah.
You mean Dallas? I'm like, yeah, go ahead and say Dallas. So that's where I'm at.
How far outside of Dallas are you?
About 30 minutes. So.
Okay, yeah. It's not bad. It's not bad. I'll be out there again soon, man. I'm planning on coming out there either, in the next month or two or the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I need to hit Dallas too.
Dallas is great.
Oh, beginning of the year, man. The new crib will be ready to, to host you if you need.
Are you moving? You moving? Where you moving? You moving closer?
Same city, just out in the country. Got me, nice little some acres. So I'm gonna be a little spread out,
Okay.
God's been good, so can't complain.
That's good, man. That's good. So, real quick, man, you got a podcast yourself. Tell us about the podcast real quick, and then we like to do this with new guests on the show, even though you've been on here in the studio about 2 years ago or a year ago. But tell us your favorite teams in all the four major sports.
All right, real quick. I am co-host of the Me and E Show. Shout out to my other host, Harrison Staples. Either God, and it's actually a four-man crew with my brother Desmond Jones, and then our content producer extraordinaire Shep Russell. So shout out to the folks. You catch us on YouTube live generally every Wednesday. We're in season 3. If you get a chance, go back and check. We actually had a guest that we did an interview with, Lamont Harris, a prominent sports consultant, talking about NIL. He has 2 clients. His nephew Darius Curry, who's at Long Beach Poly. And then he has another local artist here in Texas. Really great interview. So that's what you can find it on YouTube Live and also wherever your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever. So that's the show. So want to again shout out to my guys at the Meanie Show. As far as my 4 major sports, so NBA, Chicago Bulls.
Sorry.
I'm originally from Chicago, so got to represent that.
Thanks for throwing that out there because it'll make a lot more sense. You saying that, being from Dallas and then having all your favorite teams from another state.
Originally from Chicago, born and raised in Chicago, so that would always be a part of me. Although these 2 other teams that I'm about to mention, they're on notice because I'm thinking about opening up my fandom.
You're not one of those, are you?
Oh yeah, dog. I'm seriously close. Particularly, the Bulls will be there for forever and a day. Like I'm loyal to it. Although the owner of the Bulls also owns the White Sox, which is my other team, and that team, man, just we don't have enough time for me to get into how crazy But here's what I will say.
Wait, the White Sox have won the World Series the past 10 years, right?
No. They haven't. 2005. And ESPN forgets it every year. Every year.
It's been that long?
Winning. Yeah, 2005, fam.
I mean, listen, it's still this decade.
When we were doing that.
I mean, it's still this century. I mean.
Yeah, great. No one remembers it. They played Houston. So the problems that plagued that franchise, the same problems that plague the Chicago Bulls. So I can't do 2 Jerry Jones teams. So I'm thinking about switching.
A white owner.
WIPPO.
White people. So the White Sox, football's the Bears, and that's it. Hockey, I guess, would be the Blackhawks.
I mean, you got Connor Bedard.
Yeah, but they're gonna suck. They had their run. They had their dynasty run with Patrick Kane. And the boys. So this is the rebuild. So it's gonna take a minute, but they're gonna be bad for a few 3-4 years.
Yeah,
I mean, it is what it is. So.
But having a young player like that's a great young player. Everyone's hyped up, and honestly, he's been looking good. Like he scored his first home goal actually against the Golden Knights. In their first home game. So he looks good.
He's exciting. And the city is hyped around him, but at the same time. They're well aware that this isn't the here comes the Hawks, like they were back in 2010, 2011. It's going to be a process.
Yeah.
So they're aware about that.
All right. And you said your football team?
The Bears.
Why'd you hesitate on them, man? It's NFL season. You should be hyped up. You just made a really good trade.
Listen, Quan, I was 5 years old the last time the Bears won a Super Bowl.
Which means you don't remember.
Barely.
Barely
remember.
Get it? Barely.
So, no. Thankfully for YouTube highlights, right? Walter Payton, the fridge, all that good stuff. But
I mean, they have the best NFL rap song ever.
Absolutely is the best rap song. But, the Super Bowl shuffle, got an award or something back in the day. Great. But, I will say this. The Bears have been to the Super Bowl more recently than the Dallas Cowboys. So, again, 2006. So that means since 2006, your boy has just been the Eastern Conference Finals, and that's it.
Wow.
Like, as far as the football, and that was what, 2011? And it's been,
man.
That's it.
That's hard, man. I get mad when one of my teams doesn't win in, like 2 or 3 years. But yeah, you suffer. But all right, enough Chicago sports. We're gonna lose all of our listeners. But real quick, you did make a big trade today. You got Sweat from Washington, who surprisingly just traded their whole D line. They traded they almost beat the Eagles. Like, they were in a very close game against the Eagles. They've had an okay season. They're not. I don't think they're out of the playoff hunt. They're 3-5, I believe, which is still, like, if you go on a 5 or 6 game winning streak, you're right there.
Right.
I was surprised that they just sold everyone. I know Sweat is a free agent at the end of this year. But what do you think about that trade for the Bears? Because for the Bears to make that trade, they're not going anywhere this year. Obviously, like, that's for the future to try to, lock him up long term after that. But you got rid of your boy last year who wanted to get paid,
Roquan.
Yep.
And now you get Sweat. So I mean, from a Bears fan perspective, I thought it's a good trade. But what are you thinking with this trade?
I'm thinking I'm with you. It's on paper, it's a great trade. I just think it's too much to give up. As we said before in the pre-show, I much rather have gave up a third for Chase Young. I think Chase Young has a higher upside than Montez Sweat.
Real quick, do you think any other team was offering a third round for Chase Young? Because I'm thinking that maybe not. Maybe people weren't even looking at Chase Young like that. Because I was shocked that Niners got him for a third round.
I think there was other teams. I know the Bears were in play. They have been talking about Chase Young since going back to the offseason of this past offseason. So, again, we already know the Bears are going to be bad, right? Right now they're positioned to have, I think, picks 2 and 3 in the draft. So they're going to be that second round pick is going to be awfully high. I'm a little bit still stung from the Chase Claypool trade where they trade a high second for Chase Claypool, who's no longer even on the team, right? So, but having said all that, Montez Sweat should fit in. The one thing that I think is something interesting for us all to keep an eye on is the Bears run a 4-3 defense, right? Tampa 2 defense. Montez Sweat can definitely get after the quarterback, but Montez Sweat also has defensive position versatility, meaning he could slip into a 3-4, which means also Matt Eberflus, who has right now the worst winning percentage of any Chicago Bear head coach ever, and that's including the crazy Mark Trestman years back right after Lovey. I think this is for whoever comes in after him, because he's going to be fired at the end of the season unless something dramatic comes around. I think this is going to give them some pass rush because, again, if you look at the Bears games over this past season, they have not rushed the quarterback whatsoever. Justin Herbert was back there eating a ham sandwich with no pressure on there. He started off the game on Sunday night 15-15. Like, you can't win games like that, and that's been constant. So they needed some pressure. They signed Yannick Ngakoue, former Raider, and he's only had 1 sack. So I think it's a good move overall. I just don't like the giving up of, if I had my choice, if the Commanders came to me and said Chase Young for a 3rd round pick or Montez Sweat for a 2nd round pick, I want Chase Young for the 3rd round pick.
And it was a 2nd and a 5th or 6th, correct?
No, it was just a 2nd. It was just a 2nd round pick.
I thought they gave up 2 picks.
I'll double check.
Yeah, you might want to look at that. I thought it was like a 2nd and like
more,
either a 5th or a 6th.
If it's even more, yes. And then I'm kind of questioning because lastly, the last part in it I didn't talk about, you still have to sign this cat because he's a free agent just like Chase Young is at the end of the year. Yeah. Now the Bears do go into the offseason with about $96 million in cap space. So they got money, but I'm honestly more shocked that they didn't trade Jalen Johnson because there was rumors that he was going to be.
I wanted him because our secondary is horrible, which we'll get to that later. But Dre, what do you think? I need an outside perspective because you got the Homer talking, he's a little, riled up. But what are you thinking about this trade? The Bears getting Sweat, and your Steelers not making a move.
Steelers never really make moves.
Yeah, they don't. They don't make a lot of trade deadlines.
We don't make a lot of trade deadline moves. We don't do a lot of trades at all. We build our team through the draft. That's just what the Steelers do. But speaking of Chicago, and is it really fair to put so much expectation on a team that hasn't won a Super Bowl since you were 5 years old? I mean, let's just be honest, right? And so.
Well, the general manager came out and said the goal is to win a championship and win the NFC North and never give it back. And I'm still waiting.
But isn't that every GM's job is to say that? Right.
They can't say we're tanking.
I mean, he's not going to go in there and say, we need to tank for another 10 years so that we're able to build what we really want, right? He wants to keep the fans coming.
All I ask is progress at this point. You cannot say you've mishandled Justin Fields, but I'm gonna let you get in there. But yeah, I don't like the direction of this organization whatsoever.
Yeah, I thought that they took a turn when they got rid of Lovie Smith a while ago. I thought they were on the right path. I thought he was the right guy for them. Had they had more belief in what he was doing for that team, I guess they were 10-5 or 10-6 or 11-5 or 10-6 or something like that.
He was a good coach.
10-6.
Yeah. And I just thought that they kind of were going backwards.
They had him on a short leash.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to take some time. I mean, Chicago is, you guys are. It just seems like you guys have a Chicago Raiders connection because the Raider guy that you guys got from the Raiders, he wasn't the last or the first Raider that you guys got. I think you guys ended up getting Khalil Mack at some point, and then you guys ended up trading him away. And it's just like, what are you guys doing? Like, do you want to be good or do you not want? And it's just a lot of inconsistency. And I can't even talk because it's a lot of inconsistency to dealing with the Steelers too. And you're right, because
they get like really good big name defensive ends, and then
they're gone 2 or 3 years,
yeah.
So that they could save up cap room to get somebody great or somebody else that may be coming up through the draft. But the Chicago Bears need to really look at themselves and say, what direction are we going? Because right now, if I'm looking at the Chicago Bears, I thought the direction was, Fields. And I heard you say something about mismanaging him. The coaches can't go out there and play. He has to go out there and do it also. I mean, are you going to blame the OC like we're blaming Matt Canada over in Pittsburgh? I mean, what's going on?
I look at a combination of both. I think the offensive coordinator, here's what I'm tired of. I'm tired of people who are getting promoted on proximity. Meaning Luke Getsy came from Green Bay. He wasn't calling the plays. Matt LaFleur was. And what can he really teach Aaron Rodgers? So you had a rookie general manager who brought in a head coach, a rookie head coach who had no head coach experience, and then you bring in an offensive coordinator who never called plays, and you're saying, here's this Ferrari, go out and tune it up and make it even better. Honestly, Justin Fields has gotten he had a great year last year with nothing around him. And they have not continued to build around him. They gave him a great weapon, and they thought that was it. Meanwhile, they still have bad offensive line play. You still have a fifth round rookie as your left tackle. And just because you kept saying, oh, he's great because he's a fifth-round rookie, started every game, and he was still one of the worst in pass protection.
But you guys are young. You guys are young. Justin Fields is young. I'm not going to throw Justin Fields in the name or in the hat with Aaron Rodgers, but at the same time, he does have athletic ability. He can throw the ball. And I think it's up to the organization to make that work with somebody that is so skilled, right? And
that's my point.
And if they can't work Justin Fields as a young quarterback in this league, he's not going to go out there and give you his all for a franchise and for an organization that is not putting him in a position to win. At some point, he's going to be wanting to be out of there.
Yeah.
And maybe the Bears are so stuck in their ways where they feel like, hey, we can go find another quarterback. We don't need Justin Fields.
And that's what they did with Tyson Bagent, who's a great story. Division II quarterback, make the NFL, undrafted. Great story. But the way they were talking this cat up during Sunday Night Football, Collinsworth literally said, Justin Fields can sit back and learn something from this guy during the broadcast.
Interesting.
And so Dre, as well as Quan and I know, those commentaries, the Mike Tiricos, the Collinsworths, whoever, they're getting this stuff from coaches. They're not just making this stuff up.
Yeah.
Someone's whispering out there saying these things.
Well, I'm gonna, and not to cut you off, I'm gonna whisper and say this thing. You can give us Justin Fields. You can take Trubisky back, because I thought that Trubisky, at his height of his career for the Bears, I thought he was a good quarterback for the Bears.
Yeah. But same thing, they didn't manage him right either.
They
didn't manage him right either.
Exactly.
They give up on everybody way too quick, and that's bad management. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be on the Bears too long though, so we're moving on.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this. I still think, like Chris Wynn says, I think that Justin Fields can be a great quarterback in this league. You have to give him an opportunity to win and put him in winning situations. If not, he's gonna look like Achilles Smith, 2023.
I have nothing else to say. That's absolutely correct. That's exactly my point overarching.
Yeah,
and that's where he's headed, unfortunately.
All right, if you guys are watching live, please share the live video stream with all your people. We're tuned in. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, whole bunch of different Facebook pages, Vegas Hype Media and Gorilla Cross. So make sure you check us out. We're live every Monday or Tuesday at 4 p.m. West Coast time, depending on what's going on in sports. So we're going to get to the Lions. Speaking of Chris Wynn, he'll probably be on with us in the next week or two. But Lions fans, they needed another DN to go with Aiden Hutchinson, right?
Yep.
They didn't make that trade, but they did trade a 6th-round pick for Donovan Peoples-Jones, which I think I was mad at the Browns for not using him as much as they should. He's a great receiver to me.
Yes, he is.
And for the Lions to get him in an offense that's already pretty good, to get another receiver like that for a 6th-round pick, what do you guys think about this? I think this is a great move for the Lions. They did something. I thought they were going to make a defensive trade. I'm surprised they didn't get Sweat or Chase Young. But this is a big trade. He's a really good receiver, and I don't think people realize how good he is. Dre, what do you think about this one?
I think it's a good move. You can't fault a up-and-coming franchise that is playing really well this year to go and grab another weapon from a team that was underutilizing him.
Yeah.
He wasn't getting enough targets. And, I mean, at the end of the day, Watson is trying to get back into, football shape mentally, right?
He refuses to play football this year.
Right? And at the same time.
He's been medically cleared from every injury.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, at the same time, I think it's smart for Detroit to go out and grab a guy like this because he could help you in the postseason if they make it, to that point. But, remember when a lot of people gave up on Jared Goff? I mean, when he left the Rams, they thought his career was over. He was going to Detroit. Nobody like Barry Sanders and Megatron was not walking through that door. He's done. He's over with. And look what he's done over in Detroit. And you have to give a huge credit to that organization for going out and grabbing a guy like that, but at the same time, putting pieces around him in order to build that something that the Bears is not doing.
Believing in someone and trusting someone, something Sean McVay didn't do in L.A. with Goff. Like people need to be motivated, and that's the coach's job to who do you have, motivate them and get the best out of them. Don't just look at them and be like, oh, you got paid, you're a diva, whatever you want to say about them, but it's your job as a coach to motivate them. And you see him go with Dan Campbell in Detroit looking like a whole different quarterback. And he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's top 10 easy quarterbacks in the league right now.
He's championship quarterback. He's won a chip.
Well, he's been there.
He's been there. But he knows what it takes to get
I don't
get
think
back.
They got past the 30-yard line in that Super Bowl.
Yeah, but knows
they got there.
He knows what it takes to get back. And you just have to be able to surround him with, the right pieces. And I think they may be a year or two away. Detroit Lion fans don't clap too hard because, this is not your year to win no chip either. So,
well, here I wouldn't say that.
I'm going to go on a limb and say
I don't think they're going to win this year. But you come up with there's probably 3 teams in the NFC better than them in my mind. 49ers, Eagles, and
the 49ers?
Yeah.
Better than Detroit?
Yeah, they're better than Detroit.
Right now?
Yes.
3-game losing streak?
They're struggling. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Seattle's right up there too, but this is the thing. Injuries for any of them, the AFC doesn't look great right now. Like the Chiefs look they've been winning games, but they look average a little bit on offense. Like they're not putting up the points they used to put up.
They're still the Chiefs.
They're still the Chiefs. So once you get to playoff time, but Yeah, I mean, I think they have a chance. You know, they're right there. But I think their biggest chance would have been to get one of those defensive ends.
They still got time.
That would have put them at a different level for this season.
Yeah, well, they still got time. Like I
they
said,
have a lot of draft picks from the Rams.
Yeah, they do. And like I said, I don't think that the Detroit Lions, I'm going to go out on a limb again and say that they're going to win a chip this year. But I'm going to tell you what I just told you 2.5 minutes ago. They're about a year and a half or two away from actually being in a real life conversation of winning a Super Bowl. And they are on the right path. They got a lot of picks. They're piecing it together. They're not trying to go out for the home run right now. They're not trying to hit the home run right now. They're just, they're going to sit back and wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Still build.
Mark, what do you think about that trade real quick in the division?
I think it's excellent value. A 6th-round pick for a guy who can, as Dre was saying, you're adding another weapon to the room, and that's going to help, because we know we're halfway through the season. We know injuries are still going to happen. Amon St. Brown has been in and out because he's been dealing with injury. Jameson Williams is coming back from suspension. So this just, again, maintains their offensive floor, gives your quarterback a weapon. And so I just think this is a great move by an organization who's been the laughingstock and for a long time and is turning things around. So you got to give credit where credit is due. The Detroit Lions are for real. And I'm also going to say I agree with Dre. They're about a year away.
Yeah,
they're about another year away of adding on some young talent and picking up some free agency from them being very dangerous moving forward.
Yeah. And they got a great coach. Like, I like Campbell a lot. You saw him cry last night in the interview. So he's a crier, very emotional guy. But, yeah, I mean, listen, man, that's an exciting team to watch. They had a really bad loss last week against the Ravens, but they came back, you play a team that doesn't want to play. And we're going to get into them right now, too, because there's a list of teams that did not make trades. And I'm going to pull up a list of big names that were thought to be on the trade market and didn't get traded. Devontae Adams. If there's anyone that was saying, without saying, I want to be traded, it's Devontae Adams. Raiders did not respect him enough to trade him. And listen, I'm glad he's still in Vegas, selfishly, but they should have traded. Listen, they're not getting him the ball. He's wide open, and Jimmy Garoppolo is throwing 5 yards in front of him like he did in the Super Bowl, but we're not going to talk about that.
Ouch.
Jimmy G
the
is
defense
not
let y'all down,
he
too.
went there for Derek Carr. Derek Carr is a better version of Jimmy G, still on the same, but at least him and Carr had something. You know what I'm saying? The defense, too. I mean, the defense isn't great, but the whole team, Josh McDaniels, when he got hired, we said he was not a good head coach in Denver. Why would you hire him in Vegas? And he's brought in all these other people from New England that New England didn't want. And you see, I mean, they look horrible. They look like a horrible team again, and they were on the up and up. They were doing decent at least, and now they look like one of the worst teams in the league. And Devontae Adams is the best receiver in the league, and nobody knows that anymore because they won't trade him, and they cannot get him the ball. He had 1 reception last night. Dre, take it.
Well, I'm just saying, Devontae thought it was greener on the other side. Right? And so he should have known better to go over to the Raiders. I mean, look at the organization. Let's be honest. They hadn't won a Super Bowl in
Maybe he was watching Aces games and thought, like, this is a good owner.
Bro. I mean, I get it. New city, same team. Right? Just because I take craps at my house don't mean when I go to your house, it's a different crap. No, it's just a different spot to take a crap, right? And so that's who the Raiders are. I think they need to get rid of Josh McDaniels. They need to die off their ownership so a new ownership can take off. And then they need to get rid of their fans because their fans have unrealistic expectations for their team. They haven't won a Super Bowl in over 30 years, but yet they expect to come out and be
Raider
this
Nation.
Great super Raider Nation. Come on, man. Frank Hawkins is turning over in his love seat right now. Stop it.
Oh, man. Listen, man, the owners won 2 championships in a row. maybe he should just sign WNBA players to play for the Raiders. Asia Wilson has to be a better thrower.
Let me tell you something. The fans complain so much.
Chelsea Gray at quarterback.
Man, the fans complain so much, so many years about Derek Carr. Now you got Garoppolo. Derek Carr don't look so bad now, though, right?
I told Raider fans that when they wanted to get rid of Derek Carr for the last 2 years. I'm like, who are you going to get that's better than Derek Carr if it's not Tom Brady in his prime or Aaron Rodgers? Like Derek Carr is a very good second-tier quarterback, and they want to get rid of him. And he's not doing great right now in New Orleans either, but, you know.
That offensive line is trash, too.
Yeah.
Very.
And McDaniels is trash, too. I mean,
he's a bad coach.
Yeah, let's be honest. Jimmy G did a lot better when he were playing for better coaches and a better offensive line over in San Francisco. Let's just be honest. So I'm not going to throw all of this on Jimmy G and say that he's just this terrible quarterback when he's proven to be able to take a team to the Super Bowl. But you're just not going to be able to do that for a team that is just as trash as the Raiders. I've spoken. There you go.
Raider Nation is dying.
Listen, I can't top that. But what I will say is just, I saw up close and personal the Raiders play the Bears a couple weeks ago, and they gave Adams the ball 5 times in the first quarter, and he didn't touch the ball the rest of the game, and ended up losing.
And they made your Bears look like the best team in the league.
I blame the Raiders for why the people all of a sudden were talking like crazy in Chicago about how Tyson Bagent is going to be the next Tom Brady because of the game against the Raiders, because the dude was 21 for 29 for 160 yards, and he was just throwing down the line of scrimmage left and right. And there was no adjustments made by the Raiders.
It's tragic. It's tragic.
Like, they're still playing 10 yards off like this dude had a cannon arm or something. Like, Josh McDaniels. And it's funny, I was having the same conversation with Raider fans out here in Texas. Raiders fans and Cowboys fans are virtually the same.
They are the same.
Fans.
Yeah.
They think it's like their birthright, and they're unrealistic with their expectations.
Yes.
And for you to go, I literally someone said, "Hey, we got Jimmy G. We're on our way." I was like, "On your way to a 4-12 season? Like, what are we talking about here?"
You can't take a really good quarterback and put him in a terrible system and expect him to be good. To be great. It just does not work like that.
If Tom Brady didn't have an O-line his whole career, he would not have been the best quarterback ever. You have to build a team around these players. It's football. It's not basketball where you could look great and be great and have a sorry team. If you have a sorry team in football, you're not going to be a good player.
Yep.
You're just not.
And Raider fans they really need to look themselves in the mirror. Take a page out of Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror. Look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? We're the Raiders. And that's that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, Josh McDaniels should take that even further and beat it, because he is terrible for the Raiders.
Shimon.
So, as a matter of fact, can I say this too? Bill Belichick, for as great as he is, his coaching tree is terrible.
Wait.
It really is, bro.
Let's talk real quick about what you just said.
Boy, don't nobody want to talk about
Belichick greatness. He has not been great since a number 12 has not been on his team. Not even not great. I won't even say not. He's not been good. Like his team has sucked since Tom Brady left. Was it Tom Brady or Belichick? That's what everyone kept saying.
It was
Brady
Tom Brady.
went and won a Super Bowl his second year away from Belichick. So listen, is Belichick that good? So because nobody has been good. Who's one coach from the Belichick tree that's been good?
The closest you have is Mike Vrabel, and that's a stretch. You got to squint.
But he's been the best. But that's not great. But that's not great.
Yeah.
No.
And I'm gonna have to agree with you. That coaching tree is not good. It's not like Popovich, where his coaching tree, those coaches actually go and win games. They win championships. They do all of that. But that coaching tree, I'm gonna go out on a limb right now and say Pete Carroll is a better coach.
Yes.
And he's doing better with less.
And he was supposed to do bad when Russ left. So that's
Right.
when you see who it is. Is it the quarterback or the coach? Once they leave, what's going on with your team? Because he's made Geno Smith into a Pro Bowl type quarterback. I mean,
Boy.
listen.
Who was out of the league.
And boy, he
Like,
was on the
Geno
couch
Smith
eating
was
Cheetos.
the meme for a long time.
Yes, he was.
And you wouldn't be able to trade.
bust.
You wouldn't be able to trade Russell Wilson for a 24th first round pick.
Nah, bro.
Nope.
You can't
And to
trade
be
him for
fair-
nothing.
No,
even if
Russ
he
is
didn't
not-
have that big contract, you wouldn't be able to trade him. Nobody wants him.
Well, nobody wants him because he's up on, he's running around on a charter planes doing push-ups and stuff when people are trying to sleep.
Yeah.
Y'all remember that last year?
Yeah.
Let's ride. We're gonna do up and downs on this charter plane. Like, come on, sit your corny self down.
All right,
You
Corny.
won that life already. You got Ciara.
Let me
Sit down.
go to some more players that did not get traded. And here's the interesting thing: we kept hearing Denver was going to be trading everybody, and then they beat the Chiefs, and things changed up a little bit. Maybe win a game, and now you have hope again.
No, I don't even know who they play next, but they're gonna lose.
They're going to lose. They did not
tragic.
trade Jerry Jeudy, which is smart. Like, I don't know why they were even talking about trading Jerry Jeudy. You're not going to get equal value for him.
No.
You're not going to get anybody in the draft that's as good as him. Get a quarterback that could throw to him, and you'll be happy. And they didn't trade Patrick Surtain, which is also smart. He's your best defensive player. Keep him, which, I would have liked 49ers to be able to get him for a third or fourth round pick, but didn't happen. That's good for Denver. Your problem is your coach and your quarterback.
I think they should have traded the coach. Would have been what should have been one of the most unprecedented moves in NFL history is they just actually traded their coach, bro. It's like I just don't. The coach.
Overrated.
He's really overrated. Sean.
But he's an MVP at the bank. That contract is nice.
Oh yeah, come on, man. He got paid. He got
He
paid.
got broke
Yeah.
off like that. So hey, you're right. He is overrated, but them checks still clear. You know what I'm saying?
They do.
So
They do.
And some
so
other
shout out to him.
some other notables that didn't get traded. Saquon Barkley. Giants weren't going to trade him.
Nope.
Derrick Henry. There was rumors.
Yep.
Dallas was really trying hard to
And
get
Hopkins.
Henry. DeAndre Hopkins, who actually had a good game with a new quarterback.
That is
Listen,
the move they need
you
to
guys
do.
have to look at the teams and see, why does DeAndre Hopkins not look good right now? Maybe it's not him. Maybe it's the quarterback. So they get a new quarterback in there that probably is going to take over the quarterback spot.
Yes, he should.
He tore it up
Yeah.
on
Yes, he
Sunday.
did.
Like, he looked great on Sunday. So sometimes, we saw this. Tom Brady became great because Drew Bledsoe got hurt.
Bingo.
Sometimes you need your quarterback to get hurt and get sat down to see that the young guy behind him is actually the next great quarterback that you need. And I think they might be really lucky right now with the quarterback.
I think they cooking with grease with that backup quarterback. I mean, I seen him make some throws on his back foot that were accurate as hell, and then he made DeAndre Hopkins look like
DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, like a
like
super,
DeAndre
yeah,
Hopkins again.
like who he was.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, Will Levis balled out. And remember, there was talks about him before the draft, like leading up to the draft. He was in that conversation. Could he be the one that, goes right after Bryce Young and CJ Stroud? And then for him to fall to the second round,
he dropped
people
far.
were tripping, and
His girlfriend left him, didn't she? Like in the middle of the green room.
Yes. Yeah. And then all of a sudden,
She texted him on Monday.
Oh, well.
She was
Too
texting him
late.
yesterday, like, "Hey, honey, remember me?"
See what happens? See what happens when you get rid of bad juju? Take note, Will Smith.
Tragic.
Oh.
Tragic.
Ooh, that slaps. T. Higgins, Mike Evans, Cortland Sutton, Hunter Renfro, Jacoby Brissett. Just a few of the names that didn't get traded that were talked about getting traded. And I think a lot of teams are smart holding on to their players. 49ers traded for Chase Young. Here's my problem. And I love Chase Young. Like, this is a great trade. You got him for a third round pick. I love the trade, but the D-line is not the problem. The defensive coordinator is part of the problem, and our secondary is the major part of the problem. We have no secondary, so it's not even giving the D-line a chance to to do what they need to do, because you're just throwing out that secondary like it's nothing, like it doesn't exist because it barely exists. So Ward is good. Other than that, Isaiah Oliver, he makes some good plays once in a while, but the secondary is really weak. Teams know that now, so they're playing the 49ers the last few weeks way different. And then Steve Wilks, he's not blitzing at all. He just – we went from Robert Saleh and DeMarco Ryan, who were on the field with the defense, hyping them up, cheering them on, to Steve Wilks, who's up in the booth playing Angry Birds on his phone. I don't know why they hired somebody like that when they know what's worked for the defense. Because they had two coaches that are basically the same type of coach. Energetic young guys that want to be right there on the field with them. And it's showing, like, the defense, the only thing that's changed with the defense is the coordinator. Same players, added players with Hargrave and now Randy Gregory, and now Chase Young. Listen, this would be the best defense in the league, easy, and it hasn't been, especially the last 3 weeks. They've looked horrible. So what do you guys think about this Chase Young third-round pick and Washington Red Commanders giving up another defensive end?
I think Washington is it's hard to know what direction they're going. I know you can't sign both of them. They have some salary cap limitations in the offseason, but you're still in the thick of the things for a wild card. So I'm kind of surprised that they gave up. There was talk they were going to give up one or the other. To give up both, that's interesting. On that's on the Washington. On San Francisco, and I completely agree, Quan. Chase Young is a luxury, but it doesn't get you the actual issue. And for them not to get anyone in that defensive backfield for that team, for the 49ers, and they are struggling, but I think that's a lot to do with health. They're not being healthy. Debo's out, so that's making more making more from an offensive standpoint. They're focusing a little bit more on Kittle. And CMC is not really a full. He's playing, but he's not his normal self right now. So
the problem is Shanahan loves CMC so much because he used to babysit him that he only gives him the ball when there are other weapons. Kittle has not been getting the ball that much. He's been a blocker a lot. So finally, last game they were giving him the ball a little bit more, but. It's a good week to have a bye week for the 49ers. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, but not addressing the issue is a problem. That could be that's the only weak link, because we were talking earlier about upper echelon teams, and you can kind of see what their kryptonite, so to speak, is, and the defensive backfield is the biggest glaring area for them, and that could be the reason why San Francisco doesn't. They were my pick to go to the Super Bowl this year, and so. This could be the reason that they might not make it, because they didn't address that issue. So it's going to be interesting to watch as we go down the rest of the season.
And it's 3 bad weeks, so it's not panic time. But you do have Jacksonville coming out of the bye week, so that's not an easy game at all in Jacksonville. So we'll see, man. I mean, Wilks and Shanahan are not getting along. Shanahan's talking about him every week subconsciously. He's throwing little tidbits of shots at him every week. So something definitely needs to be done there. Hopefully this bye week they can get together, they can go to lunch. Hopefully Wilks, is still alive when the bye week comes out, because he is pretty old. But they need to do something there. They need to get on the same page, because Wilks is not doing it. And Chris Wynn said Ayuk is a beast too. Get him the ball more. I agree. I mean, Ayuk is great, but he also had a couple drops last week that were right in his hands. There was a lot of little mistakes that, in football could change a whole game and the whole outcome of a game. So we'll see what happens after the bye week. But their defense obviously did get better. Their D-line is ridiculous. You can place anybody anywhere, and we'll see what happens with that. Any other moves you guys want to talk about that happened or didn't happen?
Josh Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs. Let's talk about Dobbs. That was
to
the
Vikings?
surprise. Yeah. They needed that.
I mean, they needed that, but at the same time, that just lets you know where Arizona head is, right? They're trying to rebuild. They may be trying to go after another quarterback in the draft, and
they
maybe
were kind of
tank.
pissed. Josh Dobbs won some games for them when they were trying to tank.
They're trying to tank, and Josh Dobbs, which we should have never gave up on him. I'm never gonna forget the Steelers or Mike Tomlin for making that move. But anyways, I think that's a great move.
It's Mike's fault.
Yeah. It's definitely Mike's fault.
All right.
He could have kept Josh Dobbs if he wanted to.
I thought you were a Tomlin fan.
I'm not a Tomlin fan at all, and we all know this, right? And so I think it's a great move for Minnesota. It keeps them at an even keel until their quarterback can actually come back, if he comes back, and it still makes them competitive. And this is what Josh Dobbs wants anyway. He wants to be on the team that actually wants to win football games. He's not going to go out there when he's already trying to position himself to have a job. He's not going to go out there and make himself look worse than what he already is and end up not having a job. So this is great for Josh Dobbs, and I think it's great for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah. And Kyler Murray is coming back. Like, that's why they traded him.
Yeah, well, they're trying to get rid of him, too.
Yeah, they're trying to get rid of him.
Yeah. My thought on Kyler Murray, so I'm taking a quick pivot, but you know how people are all trumping Caleb Williams as the next best quarterback? Oh, the best prospect since Andrew Luck. I think he's closer to Kyler Murray than he is Andrew Luck.
Whoa.
Because Lincoln Riley has a type. He loves them small quarterbacks. And I'm sorry, the games I've seen this year, where there's a lot more on Kyler Murray and whatever team he goes to, Arizona, Chicago, whoever, doesn't matter. He's going to be the main dude. And I didn't see those things that separates the Andrew Lucks, the Peyton Mannings, that, he throws up great stats in the Pac-12. Great. So did Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
So I don't see Kyler. I see Caleb Williams more accurate comp is Kyler Murray. And hey, you can love Kyler Murray all you want, but he's a short, small quarterback, and I don't like small quarterbacks. And lastly, speaking of small quarterbacks, I don't think Caleb Williams is 6'1". I think he's a lot closer to 5'10", 5'11".
5'11", my height.
Oh.
So
they're fibbing a little bit.
First off, when you play sports, they always gonna fudge 1 or 2 or 3 inches on top of you. I mean, when I was in 9th grade, I was 6'3", right? And so all of a sudden, I'm still 5'11", 6 foot. So they always put that little extra inches on top of you, but we'll see. Yeah. I thought they should have got rid of Purdy. Go out and go get another quarterback, a real one.
Shep said, "Why y'all out here killing front office personnel and coaches?"
Listen. They gotta know. You come on an unnamed sports show. Hey, you can get it too. All right, that's what's going on. So that's why he gets it. So Shep, mind your business before we come after you too. No, I'm just playing. That's my guy. That's my guy. I had to let him know.
And Genuine Live said Kyler Murray's coming back this week or next, and Seahawks in first. Talk about that. No one wants to talk about that. Who cares?
No, it's
week 8.
It's Pete Carroll is really a good coach. Geno Smith has been a little above average. Last game, he played a really bad game, and the defense ended up helping him and bailing him out of that game, and they ended up winning that game, right? And do I see, Geno Smith being greater than what he is now? No, but he works for what Seattle has going on right now until they can get somebody over there more permanent.
Yeah. If you guys are watching live on Facebook, we want you to go to the Gorilla Cross YouTube page and like and subscribe to the channel. We're going to be doing a lot more on YouTube, so if you comment on the YouTube, we'll be able to put that up on the screen and get to your comments on the actual show. So Facebook, we're kind of not seeing those as much, and there's a lot going on there. So if you switch over to the YouTube channel, we would definitely appreciate that, because soon we will be streaming only on YouTube and doing a lot more content with sports and everything just on YouTube, trying to build that channel up right there. So we are going to switch over to the NBA because at 2 a.m., while everybody was sleeping except people in strip clubs. James Harden got traded to the Clippers, the only team looking to trade him, and that's why I think that Philly didn't get a lot for this trade. They got a really good draft pick possibility because Clippers might not be good in 2028. And then a whole bunch of players went from the Clippers: Marcus Morris, Nicholas Batum, a whole bunch of just.
A bag of Cheetos, red beans and rice is what they got back for.
Like one of those variety packs, right? Yeah. Of chips that you get at the store. They weren't going to get equal value for Harden. He was leaving at the end of this year anyways. He didn't want to be there. They should have just traded him in the summer when they had that chance instead of waiting till now.
Still early.
It's early. So does this make the Clippers better, though? So in 2017, this looks great with Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard. But they really did lose a lot of their bench in this trade. They
lost a lot of role players.
They got what's his name in the trade from Philly.
Yeah.
Who follows James Harden everywhere.
Yeah, well.
His knees are.
All the shoes. He got all the shoes.
PJ Tucker.
PJ Tucker. Thank you.
PJ Tucker.
Thank you.
That's good.
They needed that because they got rid of their bench.
They got rid of their freaking role players, and the fact that you picking up all these personalities. I mean, let's be honest. Kawhi Leonard is a injured, non-injured diva. So is Russell Westbrook. Paul George is going to give you what Paul George gives you. And then now you get James Harden on a rental. You don't know if he's going to stay a Clipper after this year, and you just gave up a lot of your role players. But I still think they have enough people off the bench to get the job done. And now it's just going to be figuring out if the OKC Clippers are going to be a little bit better in LA.
Yeah, that's. I have nothing really else to add to that. I mean, I take that back. I'm waiting for the next shoe to drop. There's a lot of rumors about superstars getting traded or declining superstars in Harden's case. I just feel like this is like just the start of something.
Yeah, Joel Embiid is not going to be in Philly too long. I think they're going to try to make a deal to get him over in New York. New York really wants Joel Embiid, and I think he really wants a fresh start. You can see it all over his face. I think
Philly owes that to him.
Yeah,
we talked about that last week.
Yeah,
I think Philly owes that to him.
Yeah, and I think he's really going to, and I'm going to go out on a limb because I've been really watching a lot of body language and a lot of things that's been going on with Philly as far as their mental when it comes to Joel Embiid. But PJ Tucker was really huge and big for Joel Embiid as far as, confidence-wise, motivating him, getting him to, stop worrying about the last play. Let's move on. And, in his face, I think he's going to miss somebody like that. And so, go ahead and get that big superstar. They've been waiting for that next big superstar over in New York since Patrick Ewing retired, right? And so send him over there, get rid of Rando and all of those other guys, and you're going to have to just be in a rebuilding phase over in Philly. And I think you owe that to Joel Embiid.
Yeah, you've tried to make the moves. We looked at Harden. We saw Harden in Brooklyn, right? So he had Kyrie, he had Kevin Durant. It didn't work in Brooklyn. He has not worked with other superstars very well. Now he's going to a team with 3 other players that want the ball. There's not enough balls to go around, on that squad with Westbrook, George, and Kawhi Leonard.
Right.
And now you're bringing Harden in. Like, obviously, Russell Westbrook has taken a different role since he got traded to the Clippers, but still, he's going to want some shots. Him and Russell Westbrook already played together in Houston. Guess what didn't work out? Them playing together.
Yeah.
Where else did they play together? OKC. Guess what didn't work out? Them playing together. Russell Westbrook in the prime of his career, with Paul George at the prime of his career, and Carmelo Anthony, who was still really good, together in Oklahoma City. Guess what didn't work? Them playing together.
The common
Kawhi
denominators
and
changed.
Paul George have been playing together, and they were supposed to win the championship the year they got traded. 4 years ago. It's been about 4 years now. Have not done anything.
No.
Now, I mentioned this last week. They're moving into a new arena next year. So having a lot of faces you could put on the advertisements to sell season tickets, that looks good for them. But I don't see them as a scary team. They're going to win it all type team. I would take Golden State over them any day in a 7-game series.
Absolutely.
I would take Denver easily over them in a 7-game series. What are you going to do with the bench? What are you going to do on defense?
I'm going to take Sacramento over them in a 7-game series.
Take Sacramento over them in a 7-game series.
You know, I know it sounds good for Joel Embiid to go over to New York, have a fresh start, but he's not going to win in New York either. I don't care how and what New York fans think about that. I mean, my perfect trade for Joel Embiid is go ahead and send him over to Atlanta Hawks and let him work with DeJounte Murray and Trae Young over there and build something over in Atlanta.
That would be nice.
And get rid of some of their young guys and send them over to Philly. And
that would be nice.
Philly can kind of rebuild with a lot of their young guys and things that. But he's not going to win over in New York, man. He's just not. He's just not. And but it is a fresh start. And so if Philly is able to pull something off, close to trade deadline in order to try to convince Joel Embiid to stay in Philly, that's what they need to do. I don't think they're done quite yet. Yeah. They may waive a couple of players and cut a couple of people and maybe go after a Klay Thompson, maybe try to get some money to try to get a Klay Thompson, because you hear him through the rumorville that hasn't come to an agreement yet with an extension over in Golden State. I don't think he's going to leave, but hey, if you're going to try to go after a free agent, Klay Thompson may be one guy that you may want to do it with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Genuine Life said, how far you think they'll go semi or conference finals? I think he's talking about the Clippers. I don't know.
First round
who's playing? Who's hurt? Who's not hurt by then? I don't know. I don't know what this team's going to look like in the playoffs. I don't know if they're getting anybody on their bench, because if they don't, this doesn't work. Because somebody has to come off the bench, right? Like Westbrook or Harden or who's coming off the bench? You can't start all four of them.
It's probably going to be Westbrook.
It's got to be Westbrook.
Yeah.
It's got to be Westbrook.
Westbrook, how he feels coming off the bench, he may or may not give you his best effort, right? It really depends on the time of the day or the day of the week.
Yeah, and you mentioned maybe a first-round knockout. I think Mark might have said that.
Yep.
What about a play-in knockout?
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's look at the teams in the West. Denver, Dallas, Golden State, OKC, who they're good now. Don't think they're a fluke because they're young. They have one of the best players in the league in Oklahoma City. Phoenix, Sacramento, Clippers, Pelicans, Lakers, Minnesota. Utah, like those are probably like the teams fighting for all those spots. They're not guaranteed to make the play-in with this team. I'm not. Like I said, if this would have been 2017 or 2018, they might lose 8 games. But this is 2023. I don't know how this works. Is James Harden going there for basketball purposes?
Ooh.
He wanted to be in a certain city for a certain reason. For different type of money, different type of parties. He's a party animal. He likes to party. That's what he does, which is fine if you're winning games and championships. You're not. You haven't. But you're living the life like you have.
Yeah, and I mean, let's look on paper. On paper, they really have a really good team, right? But statistically and facts show you that James Harden is not going to step his game up in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So how does that help your Clippers team?
I think Quan hit it on the top of the head. This is a potential move to put butts in the seats when they move to their new arena, because it just doesn't make sense. Like, again, there's not enough ball to go around. Someone's going to be unhappy, I should say, and based off a track record, does that, this reminds me of a really bad chemistry set. You put all these different elements in there, you could create some, or it could blow up. And I think this is something that could eventually blow up. And they're just going to be stuck with the the fallout of it afterwards. Yeah. But at best, this fills butts into the seats for next year. But it doesn't. As far as this year, it's a bad roll of the dice.
And yeah, I was actually surprised when I saw the trade happen. I thought Russell Westbrook was going to be in that trade.
If I was Philly, I would have asked for Russell Westbrook or PG or Kawhi Leonard. One of the three you got to give me with some of these other players. One of the three got to come with me.
And the reason I was saying Westbrook is because he signed a very small contract compared to all the contracts he's had.
Yeah, and believe it or not, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say this, Russell Westbrook playing in Philly with Joel Embiid. Embiid would love that. And Philly fans would love that because he's diving for balls. He's playing hard. He's doing all that. Whether the shots are going in or not.
You're going to be mad at some of his shots, but you're going to be happy that this dude plays and shows up every night.
They are a blue-collar town, and they want people to play hard and that wants to play with Philly. Yeah. And I didn't think that they would have been a bad move at all to put Russell Westbrook over.
I was shocked that Philly didn't get him. I really thought that was going to be like the main piece in that trade. And Shep said, will he go missing in game 5, 6, or 7 in elimination? He could in any of them.
Yeah. Just like PG and Kawhi Leonard. They may be on the bench with hip injuries. I mean, let's just keep it honest.
Yeah. None of them have been playoffs.
It's a better shot that this team does not make the playoffs.
It's a gamble. And I think that it's a great gamble for the Clippers because they say, you know what? We're going to give up our beans and cornbread that we had on the bench. We're going to go get this guy for 1 year. And if he doesn't do it, we probably won't re-sign him. And now we have a bunch of money and cap space to go out and pursue a guy like Klay Thompson or something. I just keep throwing his name out there because – when you have a great shooter like Klay Thompson and the fact that he hasn't signed an extension with a team that he definitely wants to stay for and they may be, far apart, it's not a bad look.
All right, Chris Wynn said it feels very 2004's Laker-ish. It doesn't. The Lakers, they got people in different positions playing different roles. They had Karl Malone. They had Gary Payton, who should have fit with Kobe and Shaq. There was so much other drama going on with that, and then Karl Malone got hurt thanks to Scott Williams landing on his knee. So it's different than that, and they had a whole offseason. But these are 4 players that all want the ball at all times. So I think it's different than that, but it still feels like that to the sense of it's a team that everyone's looking at on paper with all the big names, and then they don't really win anything. Lakers still got to the championship, even with all the turmoil they were going through with Kobe in the white girl in Colorado, going back and forth. There was a lot of turmoil that year, and Lakers still got to the championship. Clippers are getting close to the NBA Finals. The closest they'll get is watching the Lakers in Staples Center in the NBA Finals.
Ooh, that's the truth. I mean
can't argue.
You can't argue.
Can't argue.
You can't argue with that, man. I mean, it's going to be very interesting. I think all of the chips or all of the dominoes are not going to fall until after this season. You won't see what really teams are really working with because you're going to get a lot of free agents next year also. And so it's going to be interesting to see what direction the Clippers move into because you know what?
And does Russ stay?
Russ does not stay after this year.
No, I mean before that.
I mean,
depending on when he signed his contract, I'm not sure when they could trade him. He might not have been trade eligible yet.
Yeah, and he's still trade bait is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You have a trade deadline that comes up in February.
Yeah.
They very well could get rid of him and maybe acquire more people to come off the bench for the playoffs. So the Clippers aren't finished. I don't think this is a finished product. But at the same time,
as it is right now, this is not it.
Yes, this ain't it.
No.
This ain't it.
No, not at all.
I would love Russell Westbrook to go to a Philly, go to a New York, Go somewhere where a team would appreciate Russell Westbrook. I mean, he was already getting into it with Kawhi Leonard a couple games ago.
Yeah, Trey said, I thought Terrence Mann was going to be in the trade.
Me
but
too,
Philly
and
was
it should have been.
Harden's BS.
Shout out to Trey.
I mean, you got Terrence Mann, and you still got the boy that played over in Toronto that's coming off the bench, the shooter. I forget his name, but he's still good.
Yeah.
Look at this team.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, I think Philly could have got more. And here's the thing that shocked me is they took so long to make this trade happen. Clippers were the one and only team in the trade talks for James Harden. And so that's what does make it a little confusing is the fact that they were the only team looking at him. And maybe that's why Philly couldn't get more because they knew nobody else was looking to get Harden. And I think that's what it was. But for them to take this long and this is all you got for him, which, like I said, that 2028 draft pick, that's in 4 years. I mean, that could be a really good pick. It's unprotected. So depending on what the Clippers do, if they end up clipping like they usually do and, lose all these people, who knows? That could be a great pick. That could be a top 5 pick. So it might end up being great.
Norman Powell. Norman Powell.
Oh.
He, come on, man. This dude was over in Toronto and over in the Blazers, man, scoring in 15 to 20 points a game off the bench. You know what I'm saying? So they got Norman Powell. They still got Bones Highland. This Clippers team, they got
a bench.
They still have a bench, but I think that you go out and you get more bench players and maybe more cap room if you get rid of Russell Westbrook now that you have James Harden.
But if you are bringing Russ off the bench,
though.
If you're bringing Russ off the bench as your sixth man,
Bones Highland, Norman Powell, those guys, Terrence Mann, those guys right there are young, they're up and coming, and I'll take those 3 coming off my bench over Russell Westbrook all day.
Yeah.
Genuine
Life said Russ is staying. So, that's your opinion. Unless you know the GM. I'm not sure.
I mean, he is in his last year. Why wouldn't they get rid of him?
Was it only a 1 year deal he signed?
I think it was a 1 year deal.
Yeah.
And you can't make any trades until I think after
like December 15th or something 20th.
Like that.
Bingo.
Yeah, 15, 20.
Bingo.
So
right around your birthday.
Hey, shout out.
Yeah.
4-5.
Maybe I'll come out there for your birthday.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be dope.
Yeah. I don't think that Ben Simmons is definitely a lock to stay over in the Nets.
Yeah.
Before trade deadline.
Trey said, I got to get back to work, Uncle Quan and Pops. But do you think the Bulls will blow it up and fire Poles?
Yeah, that's the
Bulls need to blow it up. DeMar DeRozan won't be there next year. You heard it here first. Zach LaVine.
Is he a free agent after this season?
I think so, bro.
Yep.
He won't be there. Zach LaVine, he may be there, but at the same time, the way he scored 51 points the other night with 0 assists tells me that he has zero confidence in any of his teammates that he have over there. And, they may be looking to blow that up also.
Wait, was DeMar DeRozan playing that game?
Yes.
And he didn't even pass the ball to him.
He didn't
once?
pass the ball to him, bro.
Or Vooch.
No, but he was. That is the
Vucevic.
true definition of a Mamba mentality, right? And so let's just be honest. God rest his soul, Kobe. But when Kobe played with a team that he just absolutely despised, he was not thinking about passing the ball, and that's where Zach LaVine is right now. And I think if you're getting rid of and you want to blow up that team, if you're Philly, you're trying to try to get some guys and get DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine. Right now, this year's trade deadline, go after either one of those two. Blow that thing up.
There's already rumors. I'm just going to confirm what you said. I was just looking on Bleacher Report, and there's already rumors saying that, according to Legion Hoops, the source tells Legion Hoops that the 76ers are eyeing a trade for Zach LaVine with their latest haul of picks.
You see what I'm saying? And
now Philly got that pick from the Clippers. It's unprotected. That's a trade asset if you could find a superstar with that. So, listen, man, we're not GMs. So sometimes the moves that don't look like they're good moves actually can be if they.
And I didn't even read no Bleachers Report. I'm just going off my basketball knowledge and what I would do is if I was a GM or if I was a player, who I would go after. And right now, Philly going after Zach LaVine is not a bad look.
And this is sad because 2 years ago, the Bulls started off really good, had one of the best records in the league. The first month and a half of the season looked like they were going to be right there in the Eastern Conference and then just fell apart.
Yeah.
And didn't really lose any Lonzo Ball.
Lonzo Ball. And that's the issue, because when you got people like Zach, like Vooch, like DeMar, they're missing someone to be the defaulto point guard, 3-and-D guy, and that's what Lonzo fell into that role. And they have, since Lonzo's unfortunate injury,
injuries,
and injuries, and his career might, hanging in the balance. He'll be the first to do, to come back from that type of surgery. The Bulls have not been, they've been actually underperforming, and so with all these. I've been saying, and for those Bulls fans that if you are reasonable minded, they wanted the Bulls to blow this up because they keep trying the same people out there and expecting expecting different results, and it's just not happening.
Yeah.
You have, I love DeMar DeRozan. I think he's great, but the fact of the matter is he takes too many. He's not stretching the defense out. He's not taking threes. You got Vooch, who's a great big man. But he's not getting the ball in the post. And then you have the enigma. You have Patrick Williams, who shows you in moments and glimpses what he can be. But I don't know if y'all caught it the other day when the Bulls won against the Raptors and Alex Caruso hit that corner jump shot and the bench went wild.
Not Patrick Willis.
Patrick Williams just walked right off the court.
Yes, he did.
And so he just didn't get that rookie extension, which lets you know that, hey, he could be part of another. He could be part of a trade package.
He can be part of that package with LaVine. Send him and Patrick over to Philly and go ahead and give us, Covington and some other people over from Philly that they got from there.
That has to be rough for the Bulls to look like they were rebuilt finally. To just shut it back down and start the rebuild again. Especially because it's at the point guard position. Yeah.
Yep.
And Kobe White didn't pay off. Like he looked like he was going to be good, but
I like Kobe though.
I like Kobe White. Kobe actually improved last year. But the thing about Kobe, he's a scoring guard. He's not a point guard.
Yeah, and you got Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and you got Vooch over there. Like he's not going to be getting. He may be in that package to go over to Philly. He could help Philly at the point guard position
they should have traded for Chris Paul.
I mean,
that would have been a good look for them. There
was talk about that too. Like the Bulls have been for the last 2 years. The Bulls have been involved in almost every trade rumor because of having someone. Zach is 29 years old. He just got that he just got a nice extension, but it's still tradable, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just sad. Again, Quan, I think you hit the nail on the head. The Bulls were finally getting over the rebuild. They're finally getting over what could have been and should have been with the injury to Derrick Rose and that group, right?
Yep.
And they finally had that going, and then to have another injury to another point guard who's the key to that cog. And I just think that those three players in Vooch, Zach LaVine, and DeMar, they don't fit unless you have someone at the helm. And if you cannot fit that, you need to get rid of them. And especially going to get rid of DeMar before you let him walk for nothing. Yep. Big thing is if they want to kind of keep this, you just have to either Zach or DeMar got to go.
Yeah.
Because they do the same thing. They're too ball dominant.
Both are leaving.
And so you got to they got to go. And that would actually, let's say the Bulls trade Zach LaVine, or actually take that back. Let's say the Bulls trade DeMar. That frees up Patrick Williams to finally, because I think they're misutilizing him by playing the 4. Yep. He's a 3.
Yeah. And
so that opens him up to finally, because he's deferring too much, because if he's on the court with those 3 players we just mentioned, plus Kobe White and his Patrick Williams, he's At best, the fourth option, maybe fifth, depending on the night. So, and he probably has an advantage over most threes in the league.
Yeah.
And they don't play no defense. They have no rim protection whatsoever. So the Bulls need to blow it up. I'm cool with letting Andre Drummond be my center. Blow him up. Get rid of those guys and start over. Because you're not going.
Drummond had a killer crossover against Chet.
Mm.
Do you see that, Dre?
I did. He fell, and it was. But Drummond.
Drummond.
I mean, the greatest rebounder of all time. Okay.
Come on.
Well,
I hate to say it, but I think the Bulls need to blow it up again.
Yeah.
You keep a Kobe White, you keep Patrick, you keep your young core, but you got to get rid of Levine and the DeRozan experiment, and then you just never know where those two may end up.
And I want Bulls to be good again. Like those teams, like I want the Knicks to be good every year.
Mm-hmm.
I want Detroit to get back up there and be a great
team
team
coming.
again.
Detroit's coming.
They are. They're a good young squad. I mean, they're fun to watch. And I'm about to turn them on right now. That's one of my League Pass teams I like to watch. That's tomorrow. Are there no Halloween NBA games?
There should be. There's usually like at least
look
two.
it up, yeah. Genuine Life said, should Lakers blow it up? Trade
again?
Trade AD for Embiid. That wouldn't be blowing it up. That would be winning a chip.
That's not happening. I think right now Lakers are really fully committed.
I would take that trade.
Lakers right now are fully committed to AD, especially with the numbers that he's been putting up the last couple of games, and the fact that he hasn't gotten hurt yet, right? And so, I think that with any team, when you get rid of the entire team and only bring back two guys every single year, it takes time for the team to gel.
Yeah.
And I think right now, Darvin Ham is struggling with what rotations, who to bring in at what time, because, he is a young and new coach also. So I think the Lakers would be fine. But if they do want to get rid of, somebody, they could get rid of two of those wing players and go get a DeMar DeRozan, which they should have grabbed 2 years ago in the first place.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he was actually close to signing with the Lakers.
Yep.
Very close.
And I don't think that that is off the table, honestly.
Nope.
I think, right before trade deadline, after December and right before February, Lakers could make a small little move if they have a wing player that's playing, pretty decent or whatever, and maybe throw somebody else in there. They can go after a DeRozan, and I think that would really change their game up. Seriously, you got a person that could actually kill you at the midi range.
Yeah,
range god right there.
Yeah,
and there are 3 NBA games tonight. Knicks and Cavs are on right now. They're all TNT games. That's why they weren't on my League Pass. Suns and Spurs. So it's fun watching Wembanyama. They got blown out by 40 points the other night, though, so that wasn't good. And then Magic faced the Clippers,
which is going to be a good game.
Which will not have Harden tonight, so it's going to be a little struggle because they traded so many players away. But
I got Magic by 10.
Good. And Magic, listen, man, this is a different Magic team, too. We saw them last night against the Lakers. Lakers pulled out the win with D'Angelo Russell having a great fourth quarter, but they pulled out the win. But this is not the Magic of old. They've rebuilt this team with a good young squad, and this is another fun team to watch on League Pass this year. So if you guys don't have League Pass, buy it, hack it, do something. Make sure you get League Pass. All right, moving on from the NBA before we close out. Real quick, Desmond Jones, what's up? Overall, next superstar big name to get traded is. I would agree with Dre. I think Philly is selling everything, and I think Embiid gets traded to New York. Those rumors have been out there, and rumors just don't pop up from nowhere.
And if Embiid does not get traded to New York, they trade them assets, and they're going to blow up this Chicago Bulls team that we are talking about now.
I was going to say that. I'm saying Zach LaVine. That's the next name that drops.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Magic should have won. No, they shouldn't have.
Hey, Mark, man, I'm going to have to have you on my show, man.
Anytime, man. Listen, hey.
Hey, this is good chemistry right here. This 3 right here. There's some good little chemistry right here, especially when you know your
Trying
sports.
to get him to move back to Vegas, but We just need to set you up with a better camera. They won't even be able to tell if you get the right camera and lighting, but it looks
it's
good.
on the way. It's on the way.
Okay.
Like I said, this has been temporary for too long, and the new spot will have its own office studio for me to do my thing. So with a way better camera. That is on deck.
There might be another studio out there soon. So.
Which is another thing too that I'm also waiting for. So
at
any point, no, this has been good. This has been great. I'm fortunate, and I thank you, Quan, as always, and Dre. This has been super dope. Super dope.
Desmond, get him straight because we talked about this a year ago. When you were out here, that was a year and a half ago that you were out here, right? And then,
no, it was last September. Last September.
Okay. So a year ago, and then we got Desmond on FaceTime, and we talked about the cameras and stuff like that you need to get. So it's time, guys. It's time to step up.
Yes, sir.
All right, last topic of the day before we go. I know we're a little overtime today. Boxing almost died Saturday for good, and it would have if they would have got the judgment right.
What's a split decision?
It was a split decision. There was 1 point off the final judge. One judge gave him 96-93 to Fury, which was ridiculous. But Francis Ngannou knocked down Fury. Fury has black eyes and cuts, and Francis Ngannou has nothing. Like, not one scrape, not one nothing. For those of us that watched the full fight, Ngannou won the fight. Ngannou won the fight. He had more connection, but the damage was done to Fury. If me and Dre get in a fight and I have a lot of damage, but I swung and maybe connected more, like I hit him in the chest a little bit and I connected more, does that count more than me getting a black eye and bleeding all over the place?
Okay, so let me go ahead and jump in real quick, just for real. I've been in a situation before where I've actually gotten into a fight with someone, and I had a big knot on my head, and my lip was big, and my ears was ringing, but that dude was asleep, right? And he didn't have not a bruise on him, though, right? So sometimes people bruise easy, and sometimes people don't.
Yeah.
I saw the fight in its entirety, and I believe that Francis, for a first-time fight, had a very well executed fight. I could tell that he was a little winded, and he was kind of awkward. He was switching to southpaw sometime, and then he'd switch it back, as a righty. And I thought he gave him some really good shots and really punished him, put him on the ground. But did he collectively have enough to take over the heavyweight world champion? I think it should have been a split decision, and I think Fury got that because he is a champion and he is, Fury. But I think that if you give Francis,
and they do say you got to really beat the champion if you're going to fight the champion,
and if you give Francis, if he just dedicates his whole being right now to really becoming the best boxer that he can be, no more UFC, just straight boxing, fine-tune them skills, get into some better shape, I think it wouldn't be a split decision. It'd be unanimous for him. And so he's not going to win anything split with a champion. You're just not.
Especially when they need that champion.
I would
to fight December 23rd, like he's already signed against Usyk.
And I would have loved to see, Francis win. But, I think he made it very interesting and really upped the stakes for a rematch.
And to me, that is still a win for MMA.
Bingo.
Showing that in combat sports, you have to give Francis the GOAT in combat sports overall, because he's been a UFC heavyweight champion, and then he went toe-to-toe decision, knocked down the heavyweight boxing champion. So he's GOAT status right now. And he's still fighting in the PFL. He got signed to PFL, so he's still going to be fighting MMA and boxing, but he is dedicating himself to boxing a lot. So, very interesting. Very interesting. And the funny thing is seeing them in the ring, because we've seen Francis in the studio, right? And we see how big he is. He looks like the Incredible Hulk in real life, like no lie. But seeing how short he was compared to Tyson Fury, I'm like, how big is Tyson?
This is big.
I couldn't imagine seeing him walk in here, like seeing how big he is. But we've had Francis in the studio a few times. Good dude.
And I think if Francis learns how to really fine tune his boxing skills and attack Fury's body, I believe this is a completely different fight. Fury is, I mean, he hits hard, don't get me wrong, but he is, he does have that nice little inner tube around that, around that belly area. And I think if you attack that body a little bit more with as hard as Francis hits, and then maybe give him some combos, because I didn't see any 1-2, 1-2, 3, and then 1-2, 3, 4. I didn't see any combos. Once he starts learning how to do that, I think it's just completely different.
And then I don't know if you saw that punch where Tyson threw.
Elbow.
But he hit him with the elbow and forearm, and most other boxers would have been down with that, at least knocked down. But being in MMA, you took that mistake that Tyson made by missing the punch and hitting you with the whole elbow and forearm, and didn't even budge, because you're used to that as an MMA fighter. Boxers aren't used to MMA moves like that. So how much credit, Mark, do you give Mike Tyson for being one of the main coaches for Francis Ngannou?
I give Mike, I still say, remember that a couple years ago, that video where it looked like Mike was in the bar and he was just showing how to come underneath. He was throwing up some uppercuts. And I said, even at this age, Mike still has it, right? Mike's his mind as a boxer is unbelievable. So I give him a lot of credit for preparing that young man to go out and do. I mean, everything Dre said was on point, and I think the fact of the matter is, if Mike can spend more time with him, sky's the limit, man.
Yeah.
Like it's because you're right from the objectable looking at it point of view, without all the, let's say, for lack of a better term, politics behind Tyson Fury in his fight in December. He, like I said, I think Francis won that, like straight up and down on the reels, right? So, so if he won, if from that standpoint, just look on, observation, looking at it, he won. Just imagine, and with that time with Mike, just imagine what it will be extrapolated out another 6 months, year.
Bingo.
What he can go and do. And like you said, the most important thing they love in any sport, or movies, they love sequels.
Yeah.
Dude, this felt like real life Rocky. This was real life Rocky.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's why I say, I think he'll be good with learning combinations, and maybe going to the body a little bit more, man. Because let me tell you something. I've been in so many fights in my life, man, and
stay out of those streets, right?
That was back in the day, man. But you have to, I had to survive, man. You know what I'm saying? And so it's been times where I was in phenomenal shape, but when that one punch to your gut, sometimes it just takes the breath out you. I don't care how good a shape you in, but I saw Francis.
That happened to me on the tetherball court.
Yeah, the ball hit you in the stomach.
In the stomach with the tetherball?
Yes, bro.
You're knocked out, bro.
It's done. It's done.
You just walk away.
I saw Francis give Fury a uppercut that missed, and I said, that looked like a damn Tyson uppercut. Mm-hmm. Had he connected on that, he would have been done.
Yeah. A fight I want to see, because I think it's going to be a while before they get the rematch with Fury, probably a year, because if he's fighting Usyk in December, he'll take time off after that. Give me Deontay Wilder versus Francis Ngannou. That would be nice.
Well, Deontay Wilder put Fury on the ground too.
Yeah.
Right? And so
that was the last time he was on the ground, was against Wilder.
I mean, that would be a nice fight. I don't think Wilder want them type of problems, though. I mean, because if you think about it, Fury in that fight,
Wilder's talking about fighting MMA in the PFL.
Yeah, he needs to stop it.
He needs to stop it.
He needs to stop it.
Yeah.
But Fury in that fight against Francis, and I'll say this and be done, he couldn't really fight the fight that he wanted to because he was too afraid to really. He didn't know what Francis was gonna do.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't really put it together. He was like, this guy is a little awkward. I may really get knocked out by this dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we'll see, man. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, man. That's our show for today. A little extra half hour, you know what I'm saying? When you're on the studio, you can do that. But, man, we appreciate it. Mark, sorry I took a little longer, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I don't know if dinner was ready and now your food's cold or what. But I appreciate you getting on, man. Let everybody know where they can find you. And we're definitely going to have to get you on at least once a month. Oh,
yeah, no problem. Like I said, it's always love with the show. And like I said, I think I got a new homie out there in Drake.
Yes,
I think,
sir.
This like I said, this you know, this vibe right here.
It's a good vibe.
Yeah, it's this new 3-man weave right here. You know what I'm saying? But again, you can find me as a co-host of the Me and E Show on every Wednesday on YouTube Live. You can follow the Me and E Show there. You can get the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify is the game as well. So you can always get us there. And then you can hit me up on social. It's a dang shame I don't know my socials by heart, but you can get me on Instagram at M_Jones4033, and then on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, it's M_Jones3340. And again, much appreciate the opportunity to be with you guys as always. And like Quan is family, so Dre, that makes you family too. So whatever you need,
Salute.
you need me to hop on at any point in time, just say it and I'll be there.
Let's do it.
Hey, man, Tamika Bolton in the comments is really excited about your bromance that you guys have formed.
I mean, listen, hey, here it is. Real recognize real. You know what I'm saying? So Dre we on the same wavelengths. He was picking up some of the little comments I was making.
Yeah.
Shout out to Will and Jada.
Oh, slap that.
Right.
All right, before we go, real quick, who we got? The World Series just starting to 0-0, so we still have time to not look at the score and see Texas up by 20 and then make our pick. But 0-0, game 4 of the World Series, Texas at Arizona. Who you got tonight, Mark?
Rangers.
They haven't lost a road game in the playoffs.
I'm going with the Yankees. No, I'm going with Texas. Texas Rangers.
Yeah, give me the Rangers too. And then they can go back.
Gentlemen
They
sweep.
go back to Arlington, right? After this, and they could win it there.
I think it'd be a gentleman sweep. You got to get Diamondbacks at least one, but that's
Well, they've already won one.
They ain't winning no more.
It's
They're not winning
2-1.
anymore. Yeah, it's over.
So they can go back to Arlington and win it, which
They
would
just
be
scored
dope.
again.
These are two. Yeah, Texas just scored right when we said it. So these are two teams that we didn't expect to be here, but it's exciting when your team doesn't make it. You want to see two underdogs fight for it, and yeah, man. I mean, has Texas ever won it?
They got close in 2010 and 2011. They actually were winning in 2011. They got down to one out, and Nelson Cruz didn't go back on the fly ball, and it went over his head and led into game-tying run, game-winning run. So they should have had a championship, and they've been scarred since. So shout out to the Rangers, and I want this for the Rangers fans. And low-key, I might be switching my allegiance, like I started the show, from the White Sox to the Rangers.
Don't do it.
No, I'm seriously. Listen, y'all.
Wait, you can't listen. If you're switching your allegiance, you can't go from your childhood team to the team that just wins the World Series.
Listen, my youngest son, shout out to my guy Levi. He's been telling me for years. He's like, you need to get rid of them punk White Sox and come over to the Rangers. And so we went to 3 games this year, and listen, I am so disappointed in the White Sox franchise. I'm really, I gotta do something. So my allegiance, baseball allegiance, is up for grabs. So next, I won't do it in the middle of a championship window, but next season I might.
You kind of said it right now while they're in the World Series, up 2-1 and 1-0 in the game. I mean, I don't know. That sounds a little fishy.
No, I said the Rangers were going to, if they got past Houston, because Houston is the arch nemesis. The Houston, Texas is East Coast, West Coast. It's blood and Crips. Houston and Dallas do not like each other whatsoever.
Yeah.
If they get past Houston, I said, and they did match up against Philly, I said they'd beat the Diamondbacks, and I like it. Like,
that's
listen,
fine. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you jumping allegiance to them.
Oh, listen, I keep an eye because I like I said, my wife. Shout out to my wife Jen. She's a diehard Rangers fan. So
is she from out there? Is she born and raised out there?
She's actually a Cali girl, but she lived most of her life in Texas.
Okay,
so
okay,
so it's Rangers and Dodgers in her
I give
mind.
it to you a little more than because of that.
Yeah,
because that does happen. You know, like when you get married or start dating someone, you start liking their team.
Yeah,
or you hate their team, and it makes for fun banter. And,
yeah,
and
you're just taking the Will Smith role. You're just allowing the wifey to call the shots a little bit with his.
Keep my wife name.
Got him.
I'm just playing. No, I mean it is like listen. Shout out to the wife.
Yeah, that's good.
Jen is awesome, but yeah, no, I like what the Rangers did. Like, listen, they developed talent, and then you know what they do? They just went out and bought a whole bunch of players. They said, we want to compete. We want to be back on this level, and it just paid off year one. And they're doing this without Jacob deGrom, who they gave like $50 million this year.
And they're doing it without A-Rod. Because he was killing over there, but they were trash. And then he came over to the Yankees.
Yeah, he got a $100 million contract. That was huge back then.
Yeah, that was huge back then. So
now they're getting half a bill.
Doesn't he?
And now they're up 3-0.
Doesn't he own some type of stake with the Rangers? I thought
maybe a T-bone.
I can't with him sometimes. You know what I mean?
Ribeye.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this: if the Rangers win, Chuck Norris will be proud. I promise you that.
Hey, listen, Chuck. Hey, Chuck is like Suge out here. You don't say Chuck's name too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, you say Chuck's name too much, all of a sudden Chuck up at your door like, heard there's a problem. I don't want these problems. Dre, listen, I want you to come to Texas and be safe. You feel me? So I don't want, we're not going to speak begrudgingly at Chuck Norris. That's hey.
Yeah, Chuck Norris, man. That's that guy right there. I'll take him over Van Damme any day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Van Damme can't even speak English.
You know what? I'm gonna go online and try to find me a Chuck Norris shirt. I don't think he get enough credit.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. All right, folks. Check out Dre every Saturday, 2 p.m. West Coast time, right here on Gorilla Cross Radio on Let the Ball Bounce Sports Talk. If you're on Facebook, join the Let the Ball Bounce Sports Talk group. And it's fun, man. There's a lot of trash talk. Some people get in their feelings. You shouldn't get in your feelings. You should never get in your feelings. Just accept it. It's sports.
I mean, when you're a real sports fan, I mean, Mark didn't get upset when I, was giving a little critique about the Bears, right? And because
it was true.
Because he knows about it, right? And so Raider fans, if you're out there,
they get in their feelings,
ready to meet me at my house to put hands on me because I said that, just be proud that you're Raiders and that's it. You're not going to win any more chips.
And if you ever fight your homie over sports, listen,
it was never your homie.
LeBron James or Michael Jordan are not fighting over you.
No, they're not.
So just stop.
No,
just stop. Dallas fans, they shoot each other after playoff games.
Yeah, that's tragic.
It's weird.
Well, Raider
fans would if they got to the playoffs.
Yeah, well, back in Oakland, don't go to Raider games and talk trash. You will get stabbed.
Yeah. That's the 187 for sure.
He said repeatedly. Seriously.
And the police will be the one stabbing you.
Hey, but then don't go to Chicago either because they might bring guns into the baseball game, and then can't figure out where the bullet came from.
It's tragic.
One of these guys, just let them all go.
That's tragic.
Man, all right, man. We appreciate you guys. We will be back next week right here on Unnamed Sports Show. Gorilla Cross, download the app. We appreciate you guys. Peace.
Peace.